So the original Bad Boy by Carolina Herrera came out a few years ago, and brand new to this year, 2022, we have the release of, and this is a long name, Bad Boy Cobalt Parfum Electrique, if I'm not mistaken. A very unique release from the brand, has notes of plum and truffle. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this brand new designer fragrance, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin my fragrance review of the brand new Eau De Parfum Electrique Cobalt by Carolina Herrera, and I give you my thoughts on it, what it smells like, longevity, performance, comparisons, all that good stuff, I do want to start things off by mentioning that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Make sure to enable all notifications by clicking on the bell icon, and of course, give this video a thumbs up if you take something of value from today's review. Now, of course, we saw Eau Electrique and also Blue Electrique by Yves Saint Laurent, and of course, this one being as though it is fashioned in the shape of a lightning bolt, it makes sense that they put Electrique in their name. And also, coincidentally enough, both La Nuit de l'Homme Blue Electrique and this one come in a blue bottle. And so that's, I guess, a new trend that we can expect on the designer side of things. Now, the perfumer for this fragrance is Domitille Berthier, and an accomplished perfumer, by the way. You can go ahead and check out the resume if you wish. Now, this fragrance, Cobalt Eau De Parfum Blue Electrique, you can expect this one to be a little bit stronger than the original, especially if we're going off of the concentration as being any indication of this perfume strength. Now, of course, the original was all about the sage, the tonka bean, the cacao, and I love that cacao note. Definitely gave it a little bit of a chocolatey feel. But then there's also black pepper in the original. Now, this one also has a spicy component about it, but it's not black pepper, it's pink pepper. And pink pepper has a rosy smell. What else has a rosy smell? An ingredient that's sitting in the heart of this fragrance, that ingredient being geranium. But I think this fragrance is not all about the geranium or the pink pepper. I think it has more to do with some of the other ingredients that are listed in the note breakdown. So I'm excited to give you my breakdown and assessment of the smell, but let's go ahead and start things off with a quick look at the presentation. Now, once you spray this on the test strip, there is no denying that this is in the vein of course, the original Bad Boy by Carolina Herrera. Now, of course, the Eau De Parfum Electrique Cobalt version does kind of go in its own direction because there are a few other main players, if you will, sitting within this composition. Of course, there's the note of lavender. And when you think of lavender, it could be a very sort of realistic lavender like Caron pour un homme, which is in the green bottle. Or it can be something where the lavender takes a more sweeter turn of events like Le Mans by Jean-Paul Gaultier. In the case of this fragrance, though, it does kind of go in the direction of the original, but it's sweet in a different way. And interestingly enough, this has cedarwood, it has vetiver, and it also has plum. What other popular designer fragrance released in the past few years contain all of those ingredients? 1 Million Lucky. So as soon as I smelled this, I was like, I've smelled this before. And I'm like racking my brain trying to find out what fragrance is this similar to. And then when I thought about 1 Million Lucky, I was like, oh yeah, it actually does smell quite similar to that. So it's sweet, but not in a chocolatey sweet way. So while it does have some elements in there that connected to the original, it's also sweet in a different way. So I do think the plum has a lot to do with it. I get a nice sort of mashup of the lavender, the plum, and then once it starts to dry down, you have some woodsy elements on account of the cedarwood, some earthy elements on account of the vetiver, and then you also have this bright, slightly minty and rosy feel, but again, that's like 5 to 10% of the overall aura. This definitely does gear itself in a sweeter direction, but you do have the geranium and the pink pepper combination. So I never found the original Bad Boy to be overly spicy. I always just considered that to be kind of like a tonka bean and cacao fragrance with some clary sage in the heart, which kind of gives it this bright, fresh, uplifting, aromatic profile. And I see some substitutions in the note breakdown mainly, you know, substituting the sage for the lavender, substituting the white pepper for the pink pepper, you know, the plum for the cacao or the tonka bean and or both. But I think those substitutions are merely superficial. And what I mean by that is, while there's a significant change reflected in the note breakdown, I don't think there's nearly as much of a change reflected in the smell. So when you smell it, you're gonna make that connection to the original, but then it's funny, there's also like this newfound sweetness to it, which I can really appreciate. You know, and it's funny, the more that I kind of smell it, it also kind of gives me hints of Layton by Parfum de Marly. Nobody has made that connection yet, but as I'm standing here and I'm talking about it and I'm smelling it, it seems like it could be a twist of the Layton DNA. Maybe it is, I'm not entirely sure, but it does smell pretty good. So I am enjoying this fragrance, and I think this is a solid release from Carolina Herrera. And I also enjoy the other bad boy flanker that smells like pot. I keep forgetting what it is, Bad Boy Parfum or something like that. So I really enjoy that one too, but I think this one brings it in a sweet, milder, youthful direction that is sweet in an equally sweet way as the original, but coming from a different source, which I do really, really like. So honestly, nice release, very well done. I'm excited about this one. I think it's going to do well, and I think in terms of flankers and the direction they're going in, I think Carolina Herrera did something really good with this one. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. Now first, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, I don't find it to be the most unique fragrance. I think it's, you know, kind of a toss-up between 1 Million Lucky and Layton, but I actually do enjoy the direction it's going in. I like the fact that it has a little bit of the plum in there. It also has this truffle note in there, which, you know, truffle is found in Black Orchid by Tom Ford. I'm not getting truffle from this fragrance, so I think it has mostly to do with that sort of tonka bean plum combination, which is really nice. Overall smell, yeah, definitely, you're gonna get complimented on this. People will enjoy this on you. People will think that you smell great when you wear this one, and it's very accessible, very easygoing, and I like that. Longevity is 7 to 8 hours. It is an Eau De Parfum Electrique concentration. I like that. They're kind of like reinventing different, you know, concentration names, if you will, but you are going to get 7 to 8 hours. Projection on this one was great for the first hour of application. Doesn't have a whole bunch of citrus in the opening, so it's not going to radiate too far beyond an arm's length, but the projection was pretty consistent for about 4 to 5 hours. And it wasn't until that 6.5 to 7 hour mark when it started to sit closer to the skin. In terms of the versatility, I think this one is very versatile. I think it has some fresh elements in there that will allow, you know, summertime use from this one, and then I think it also has some denser, sweeter elements that will allow you or enable you to wear this one in the colder weather too. It's marketed for men. I think the plum and that sort of vanillic tonka bean smell is fairly unisex, so, you know, make your own opinions regarding that. I think this one does lean kind of casual though. I think the original is also fairly casual. I think there are some formal leaning fragrances from the brand like CH Privé, and so I think there's a lot to explore within the lineup. And I think in terms of age range, this will probably appeal to somebody who's a little bit younger just because of the sweetness. Presentation, I think, is pretty cool. I think maybe the coloration and the Electrique label might be a little reductive, but aside from that, you know, they're just doing what they got to do. And if it's working with consumers, if it's appealing to consumers and it's speaking to them to a certain degree, then, you know, keep doing it, right? Whatever works, whatever sells. So my final verdict on this fragrance is, in terms of the smell, it's a solid release. I don't think it's the most unique smell that I've tried, especially of new releases, but I think it's very well done, and I definitely appreciate the fact that it went in a slightly different direction as compared to the original, while still maintaining that connection to the original aesthetically. So there you have it. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate and value your time. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. I hope you enjoyed my review of the brand new Carolina Herrera Cobalt Eau De Parfum Electrique. Quite a tongue twister there. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe, hit the bell, give it a thumbs up. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.